Well, church family and everybody around the world and around the nation, my friends and family, thank you for taking a few minutes to listen to this. I hope that the words of encouragement that I might give you today will be something that you can help you get some rest and peace in this world. Have you ever noticed how a baby can just simply go to sleep whenever they want to? Any place, any time, anywhere, and most amazingly, in any position. They can just curl up, flop over, and go to sleep. I think they do that because, well, they're tired. And there's really nothing keeping them from sleeping. Someone once said that if you can go to bed and sleep like a baby, you probably don't have one. I've always said that I can sleep like a baby. I wake up every 2 hours hungry. But regardless of why you aren't sleeping, I wonder sometimes if the reason we aren't sleeping isn't necessary. I know that there are a lot of people who have medical issues and physical issues that keep them from sleeping. And today I don't want to diminish that a bit. But I also wonder if more people are having trouble sleeping because of stress and anxiety about what's going on in their lives every day. Are you worried about your spouse, your relationship with family? Are you worried about finances, your job? Are you worried about just simply the multitude of things that you have to do tomorrow? Sometimes I don't even sleep well when I have a big decision to make. It takes me days to process through those things so that I can finally sleep. I don't know, but most people don't sleep because of the stress and anxiety. Perhaps the reason that a baby can go to sleep like that is because, well, they just simply don't have the worries of the world that we do. They know that tomorrow they're going to be taken care of just like they were today. Jesus had the ability to sleep like a baby as well. He would roll up on a mat in the front of a stern of a boat and go to sleep even during a storm. But he gave us in that story that we're going to talk about in just a minute, he gave us there an example of how we should have peace and quiet in our lives. He told us that we are going to get rest and a blessed assurance from God to do so. Did you know that rest and peace are considered a blessing and a gift from God? In the Old Testament, sleep was something that was a gift granted to those who were totally trusting in God. In Psalms chapter 4, verse 8, it says, "I will lie down and sleep in peace. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." In Proverbs chapter 3, the writer there is writing to his son. And he writes in chapter 3, verse 21 through 24, a synopsis here is, "Do you want to enjoy sweet sleep? Then put your confidence in God." In the New Testament, the Hebrew writer says, "There remains then a Sabbath rest for the people of God." And of course, you know, Jesus once said in the Sermon on the Mount, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Today, I want us to consider how not to toss and turn just because the world is doing so. In Mark chapter 4, verses 35 through 41, we read this. "That day when evening came, he said to his disciples, 'Let's go over to the other side.' And leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious squall come up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern of the boat, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, 'Teacher, don't you care if we drown?' And he got up and he rebuked the winds and said to the waves, 'Quiet,' or 'Peace, be still.' Then the wind died down and it was completely calm." He got up and rebuked the apostles at that point. He actually turned to them and said something like, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" And they were terrified at each other. Who is this that even the winds and the waves can obey him? I want us to look at this for another couple of minutes and see if you can get some encouragement about how to find peace and rest in your lives. First of all, Jesus said, "Let's go to the other side." He had things to do. He knew what was on his agenda. He knew there were people pressing around him, that other people wanted different things from him, but he needed to get away and get on about his business. Don't we? Except there came up a storm so furious that Jesus simply went to the front of the boat and went to sleep. The amazing thing is he could sleep in the middle of the storm. There's a little subtle inference here that Jesus went to sleep during the storm, not before the storm. And the amazing thing again is that he could sleep in the middle of that storm. And while the winds and the waves were shaking his world and tossing and turning the boats, Jesus wasn't. He had peace in the middle of a storm. I want us today to have peace in the middle of the storms of our life. We may ask, somewhat like the apostles did, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Do we ever say that to God? "Don't you care that I'm going through this? I can't handle this, God. I need you, and there you are." Or, "Where are you, God? Don't you care?" When Jesus says to us, "Calm and peace be still," he has as much power over us as he does over the storms, the winds and the waves. The difference is we have to give it to him. After he rebukes the disciples, he asks, "Why are you so afraid?" Do you think they were more afraid of the winds and the waves, or they were of Jesus? Good question. Remember, Jesus promised that they would go to the other side. And regardless of the storms of life, Jesus kept moving forward. And I wonder if we can't do the same. Do we have faith in God? I believe we do. Do we know that God is going to carry us through the next day? We need to know that. We need to have that faith. Do you toss and turn at night? Well, perhaps some people count sheep, but maybe you should be counting on the shepherd instead of the sheep. Jesus is saying to you, "Peace, be still." And I think right now, I'm going to go take a nap.